Hey, this is NorbCam coming at you. Today, I'm honored to be joined by former Seahawks running back Curt Warner and his wife Anna to talk about football, family, and living with autism. Curt was a Seahawks running back from 1983 to 1989 and was inducted into the Seahawks Ring of Honor. Curt and Anna have 4 children, Jonathan, Isabella, and their twin sons Christian and Austin, who suffer from severe autism. Curt and Anna had struggled silently for years raising a family with autistic twins. In 2018, they published their book, The Warner Boys, a personal memoir about their fight to keep their family together against all odds. Now, there is new hope for their boys to live more independent lives, but they'll need our help for the dream to come true. So 3 years ago, you decided to write a book about your experiences, and it's this book right here, the Warner Boys,
yeah.
And which people can get on Amazon. I highly recommend that they check it out and read the story so you can hear more of the details of what we've been talking about today. But what was it that made you decide to write a book about this whole experience?
I think from my perspective, I kept saying to myself, you can't make this up. And I said that more than once.
Yeah.
I would say that quite often. I'm like, you just can't. What's going on at this particular moment? You can't make this up. It's happening. And then, a dear friend of ours, gentleman by the name of Ken Hutcherson, Pastor Ken Hutcherson, had written a number of books as well.
He told us, you guys have a story.
You need to write.
You need to write. And when he said that, the boys were younger, and I'm thinking to myself, when am I going to have time?
We don't have time
to write a book between us midnight and 4 a.m. So it was not something that I had even thought about it because.
And it just happened over a period of time. I was having a conversation with Gary Wright. Gary Wright
from the Seahawks.
Yeah. And just a dear friend. And I was telling him, I'm like, you know what? This is what's going on. And I think we should put it in words just to kind of see where it goes. And he said, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I just kind of gave him an overview as to what was happening. I think we wrote we spoke at a conference, an autism conference back in Pennsylvania. And we had put together this PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. And then from that outline, I'm like, you know what? I think we have an outline.
And it was the first time that Curt was able to talk about autism.
Yeah, I couldn't even talk about it.
He couldn't talk about it. He couldn't talk. It was too
without
hard.
Breaking down and crying or something.
So at the conference was the first time that he was able to.
I had to stop a couple of times. Pause a couple of times.
But, So I think after that he was like, "Okay, I'm ready to tell the story."
So you talked about it publicly, and then after that, you felt like, okay, if I can get through this, you can.
Yeah, we talked about it publicly a few times. So it was getting to that point where,
I always talked about it. I was always like, this is it. You want to know about my life? Here it is. And but it was hard for Curt to talk about it because your children are suffering. And it's hard to watch your children suffer and have issues when others are not having issues, and it's like, well, this is not fair. It's not fair, and I don't like it, but this is the hand you're dealt, as Chuck Knox would say. You got to play the hand you're dealt. Well, I don't like this hand. I still don't like the hand. But so he went talked to Gary, gave him Dave Bowling's name. And Curt talked to Dave, and then he came to me and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something. I'm thinking
we should write.
I think we should write a book." And I'm looking at him like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah."
No, here's the outline. I said, "We already have the outline. Yeah. We've already discussed it. Let's see where it goes."
And then he told me, I got Dave Bowling. Let's talk to Dave.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dave came down. And we talked about it, and Dave was like,
"You got a story?"
Yeah, he said, "But this is not a story about autism. This is a love story." And I was like, "Aw, that's nice."
But what a great writer!
Oh,
he is just
lovely.
a fabulous writer.
Lovely.
He's just.
Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah, it's a great book.
You know, he helped us kind of lay out the path.
Yeah.
Because when we give him a title, he would just boom, go with it.
Oh, it was like therapy.
Yeah.
Sitting down and having a Zoom meeting with Dave. For me, it was therapy. For Curt, it was like pulling teeth. It was hard.
Well, again, it was like before you didn't have somebody to talk about. All those years, you had to kind of just keep it to yourselves, and all of a sudden you have somebody you're revealing every thought, every detail, even details you didn't share with each other. All now is coming out there. So I'm to go from one extreme to the other. It had to.
And I thought about that too. I'm like, why did I even do this? I mean, this was not a good idea. There were many times that I'm thinking, this is not a good idea. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm all done. But then she was just blah, 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 talking all the time. And then I got to talk. And then we go in third person, which I liked, versus first person. And then they come back and they say, you got to do it in first person.
Good.
But
very
Dave was
good.
extremely pulling. You know, he could help get it out there. We used a lot of sports examples, but he was able to help.
Well, what's great about the book is you can obviously get the hard copy version, but you can also listen to it on Audible as well. So you have people have different options, so they can choose to listen to your story. So here we are today now, because that book, I think you wrote that, it was 3 years ago when you released it. I want to say 2018. Yeah. So it's now 2021. And so tell us, kind of get everybody up to speed where you are now, because at the time, I think even when you were promoting your book, when you first were about to release it, you were still in that mindset of, well, there is no cure for autism. They're going to need 24/7 care the rest of their lives. And it seemed like you were just going to be stuck in this same situation for the rest of your life. But now it seems you now have a new potential solution that's kind of right in front of you, that maybe there's a chance they can have a little more of an independent life. So tell us where you're at now and what the situation is that has developed for you for the boys.
And I think it was in 2015, a friend of ours, our friend that would come and fix the holes for us, he said, hey, I have a friend who has a son with autism, and he just moved into a place in Ellensburg, and I think you guys need to go and visit and see what they're, how their son is living and all of that. So we scheduled with them and put the guys in the car, and Isabella, and we drove to Ellensburg. And at the time, I always wanted the boys to be involved with kind of a farming community where they can be around animals, because I think it's a great therapy to be around animals. At least for me, it is. But we drove from here to Ellensburg, which is like a 4-hour drive. And the whole time I was like, there's no way I'm going to be away from my boys, that had to get in the car 4 hours to drive to see them. What if something happens and all that? So we get there. And so there are 4 adults with disability in the house. And there's a couple, house parents, what they call house parents, that take care of the guys 24/7. They have vocational educational place that they go to during the day,
which is called the Trellis Center.
The Trellis Center, where they work. They grow organic vegetables. They have CSA. They deliver all the way to Bellevue. They have a trailer that they sell their stuff at the market, at the Saturday market. We got there, the guys were going, some of them were going bowling, others were going to the movie theater with some of the university students. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys have a life. Our boys did not. They had just graduated from high school, and they were home. There was nothing to do. And I was impressed and how fulfilling their lives were and how wonderful it was, the whole thing, the whole concept. So I finally accepted that would be a good place for them. to live. So we had to do a lot of prayer. And so right now they have 3 houses, the Sunridge Ranch, 3 houses with 4 adults in each. And then every time that they were building a house, we're like, okay, maybe this time it's our time to do it. But we have 2 guys, and that they own, the 4 residents own the house. So, the families own, but it's going to be their house. And for us, it was a lot. Financially, we couldn't do it. So we have a dear friend that read the book and stepped in and said,
she wants to help.
We want to help.
Yeah.
I want to help. She said, actually, we're going to buy the house. I told her, we do a fixer upper. We got a house and just do a nice remodeling, and then we'll go from there. And she said, okay, let's do that. And she went one step further. She said, I'm going to gift one of the boys his share of the house. And you guys paid for the other guy, for the other twin. And then we have 2 more adults that will join them. So the house was just finished December 2020. The boys were able to move in. Well, we moved in with them February 2021. We are finishing up, establishing the whole house, and their routine is a work in progress. And establishing their routines, and so they can start in the Trellis Center. We're trying to hire house parents, a couple sets of house parents, but they still have a lot that needs to be done around the house to be, so they'll be able to work. So we will be able to actually come home.
So the reason we got involved was we saw the video from Dave Craig.
Hi, this is Dave Craig. I'm speaking specifically to the 12s and the Seahawkers, but in general to anybody who's watched Curt Warner play football. Him and Anna, his wife, need our help. He's got 2 boys, Christian and Austin, who've had autism since they were 2-3 years old. They're in their 20s now. They need to live an independent lifestyle. So does Curt and Anna. They need to live an independent lifestyle. A lot of people helping a little bit goes a long way. So on behalf of Curt and Anna, I would like all the 12s and the Seahawkers just to give a little bit. A lot of people can help a lot. Thank you.
Mark Collins, who we run our charity Fans for Good, he brought to my attention, he said, Norb, you need to see this. And so we found out about it and talked about it and said, well, we need to do something to help them. And that's how we got involved with our charity. And we're now appealing to the 12s out there, the 12s community, and just those who can help. Where will that money go to help you right now?
We have to build an apartment, and where we have the garage at the boys' house, we have to build an apartment so we can have house parents for respite. It's an intense job. We know it because we do it 24/7, and we need house parents. We need a couple sets of house parents so they can work and being able to take a break and take care of the boys and get some rest as well. So 2 sets of house parents will be ideal. So we need the finances to be able to build that apartment. And there are other things. We have to build, a vegetable garden, and we have to get, lawnmower, just little things that we need to get to do to get it all working. And so we'll be able to have everything ready for them. And so they'll be able to be more sustainable.
And that's the first step. And obviously many that have to happen, but in order to have a place where at least caregivers can come and be there for them, it starts with having a place that they can live in and help them. So that's kind of like the first step in many for them, for this to work out, right? That's why that's the number one priority.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. There's a number of projects that we are looking to do, but from I think from a budget perspective, from an arrangement of how we can make this thing work long term.
Yeah.
Having the apartment in place gives us the ability to allow the best possible solution for what we're trying to get done. And that is long-term viability, being able to stay there when we are no longer here on this earth. And, someone is going to have to step in and make sure that these guys are taken care of, because there isn't a day that doesn't go by that we don't think about, what's good, what's going to be good for them in the future. We think we have a way to go that would enhance them, not only from a living condition, but also being able to work, being able to be entrepreneurs, being able to have a life where,
a fulfilling life,
life,
and be happy. And that's what we want the most, is for them to be happy and be safe. And in order for them to be safe, they need 24-hour assistance, and we need to have two reliable couples that will be there, and the apartment will be
just a part of
will be a part of that. So the house parents can have a break and have some respite, and the boys will have somebody to take care of them.
Yeah,
when we're not there.
So I want to ask a tough question, because I think there's often an assumption that since you played in the NFL, Curt, you must be loaded because everybody in the NFL is billionaires and millionaires, or because you did have a car dealership and now you have an insurance business. So people might be asking, well, why do they need my money? He should have plenty of money. How do you address that? Because I think that's, when people don't know your situation, that might be one of the first things they think is like, well, Curt Warner, he's an NFL player. He should have plenty of money. How do you answer that tough question that sometimes pops into people's heads when they see an ask saying, we need your help?
You know what? That's a great question. And I would probably be thinking the same thing. But I can tell you this, that in 1983, the pay level in 83 is less than what it is currently today for someone coming into the NFL. But as I think my wife pointed out, that we have been, providing and taking care of our guys from day one. And, we know what it's going to take to move things forward. Now, are we in a position to where we have that? No, I wouldn't be asking otherwise, because, for me, that would be the last thing that I would want to even to bring to the forefront. But unfortunately, we are in a situation where we can use additional help, additional funds that would help with our guys, along with others who are in the same situation. So, you got to kind of let your guard down a little bit and understand that, hey, these are the 12s. They've enjoyed a long Seahawk. They're long Seahawk fans, and they're wonderful fans, and we love them dearly. And all I can say to you is, look, if you want to help and participate, God bless you. If you don't, God bless you. I don't mind asking because it is for Austin and Christian. It is long term. We want to do what's best for them. And there are times when you do need help.
And I don't mind asking for help. I don't mind humbling myself to a point where, yeah, we could use some help. So thank you. And thank you if so, and thank you if not. We appreciate it. I've loved being a Seahawk. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And being a part of the Seahawk community is it's been a great experience. And so thank you.
Anna, how about you? If you could speak directly to the fans who are listening to this, what would you say to them? Those were great words. And I know you and I Kurt, have spoken privately before on this video, and I know asking for help like this is not something you are comfortable with or want to do. You would much rather solve it yourself, but obviously sometimes desperate
I would rather
times.
fix it myself and move on, but it's just long term. I know what's ahead, what we're dealing with. There are things that we need to do now, and the apartment would be the first thing on the table. We're gonna get that done, and then once we get that done, then I think there are other projects, but not projects that we immediately need to get done today.
It's not easy coming, and I know it's not easy for him to do it. Gotta put the pride aside and say, hey, we need help. That's what it is. The boys need help.
Yeah.
That's really we're doing everything that we can to get this their house set. We are staying over there right now and setting their schedule, their routines. So
we are there.
Yeah,
we are there.
Yeah.
We're living there, but
transition is hard for them. So it's been hard on Isabella because we don't have the house parents, so she hasn't been able to go back to school because of being there with her brothers and with us. So we have to do what we have to do. It's a family, and she the other day she was like, "But I've been waiting a whole year to go to school." I said, "The boys have been waiting 7 years for this house, and it's finally here. We have to get this done right." And so it is hard, but we have to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
So one last question is, what do you hope?
One more tough question.
One more, the last question. What do you hope people will learn from your story? Obviously, we're hoping people will be generous enough to help support you guys. But in the big picture, what are you hoping that people watching this, reading your book, what they might learn from your story? What are you hoping will come from that? Just from what they may not have known at all about this to then reading your story and learning that there's so much more to this. What are you hoping that they might take away from in terms of just the people in general?
Number one, I would say autism awareness.
Yeah. Compassion.
Number two, the experience of it, because we're telling the story from our experience, from our perspective, and then hoping that there is a connection to a certain degree. So with autism at 1 in 59 or 54, this is something that is not going away.
Yeah. We have adults, we have 500,000 adults coming in about the next 10 years. And this is not all of them are.
And there's going to need to be some type of housing situation.
We need that. There's many families like ours, or even in a worse situation than ours. So be, helpful. Have more compassion. Don't judge. Just be a nice neighbor, a kind friend that will be just offering, help. What can I do to help? Instead of just judging because you see a child that is acting up and you think it's bad parenting or whatever, offer help. Be kind to one another, and just
And I would say this, the NFL is a tough, it is a tough guy's game, tough man's game, but autism is tougher. Physically, mentally, spiritually, it cuts at you.
It brings to your knees.
It brings you to your knees. Why? Because they're your children.
Yeah.
You love them. You're going to love them regardless. You want to do what's best for them. Long term, there has to be a solution. There has to be some type of direction. And we're just trying to get ahead of it before we get into a situation where we're in it. And I think we are moving in that direction, but we still got a few more steps to take. Yeah. There's some things that we've got to do. We'd love to get some house parents sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But we've got to wait our turn and see what happens. But we are looking to get that part of it dealt with as well.
Well, so to everybody watching out there, again, this is Curt and Anna Warner sharing their story about football and raising a family with the challenges of autism. You can check out their book, The Warner Boys. It is on Amazon. And please check out our fundraiser, the Curt Warner Family Autism Fund. You can see it at our website, fansforgood.com. We also have links to where you can donate directly to the fund and on Facebook. And more information, if you want to know more about their story, there's more links in there for where you can get more information. So Curt and Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Norb.
Thank you, Norb. We appreciate you taking the time to dig into this and ask the right, a lot of questions, tough questions, but good questions.
Thank you. Thank Mark for us as well.
Yeah, please do.
You're welcome. To watch the other interview segments of Curt and Anna about playing with the Seahawks in the 80s, how they met, and their battle with autism, click the videos on the screen. Thanks for watching.